Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. In today's video we'll be looking at the first race of the IT Engines senior class which I participated in, which was at Spa-Francorchamps for the people who don't know. And during this race, actually during the qualifying, my camera fell off, unfortunately, so I have like barely anything from that recording. And I wasn't able to fix it in between race 1 and 2, which I managed to do in between race 2 and 3. So I don't have race 1 and 2 on recording due to that, and that's mainly due to me not having the proper stuff at that moment and then having the stuff to fix it. But basically I'll quickly summarize what happened in race 1 and in race 2. In race 1 I had a decent qualifying position, which was in the 12th position. You could be saying like, oh hey, that's not good at all, but for me at the moment, considering the circumstance that I've never driven on the Thije and only on Maxi Sport, for me it was quite okay, so to say. Then I managed to drive all the way to the 7th position, and then due to a mistake I fell back to the 8th position, but also due to time penalties, which is a click bumper. For the people who don't know, it's basically when the front bumper is pressed inwards, so not in its normal position, which is more forwards, then you get a 3-second time penalty. So due to that I lost quite a bit of positions, and in race 2 I had to start all the way from the back, but I didn't know at that moment that our front left tire, the screws were loose at that moment. So basically that means that the tire pressure started going down by a lot each lap. So eventually I was just driving with a flat tire throughout the entire race, and at first I thought it was the front bumper that was too low to the ground, so it was hitting the floor, but it turns out that the entire left front tire was just flat. So yeah, that sucks quite a bit. So let's see if we're able to retake all the positions in race 3. So here we are for the third race of the day, lining up and waiting until the light goes out, which is now. Get slightly bad exit, not slightly bad exit, get slightly bad getaway. We're trying to make up for it by going down the inside here. Although we did slightly bang the side pods, also bang the wheels a bit. Here he has the inside of us, but instead we go down his inside and make sure that we actually gain the position, which we do. But because of this we lost quite a bit of time up like to the people in front of us. So we're trying to regain that time back by driving as fast as we can at the moment. Although we do make quite a bit of mistake, which makes us lose a bit of time. And as you can see through this corner, we're also losing a bit of time, but we regained it going up to the chicane. And now we're heading up to the straight, so we can see the 203 going slightly defensive, which in my opinion isn't really needed because I'm not close enough. But as you can see, we brake quite late here, so we get quite close to his rear bumper. But he gets a slightly better exit than us, so he pulls away from us. And here we're heading up, and you can see we're getting quite close to the back in front, although there were quite a bit of mistakes made, nearly an accident. Managed to avoid it, which is quite good, although slightly benefiting from it at the same time, because we gain a position. And here you can see we're getting very close to the people in front, maybe even being able to overtake. Ooh, well, the 204 makes a slight mistake. Hopefully his rear axle didn't get bent there, because it looked quite bad. And here we are really trying to keep up with the 204, making sure that we don't lose any ground, although it's quite hard to do, because the setup that we were running at this moment had the front a bit too grippy, basically meaning that I had to lift at certain points to make sure that the rear wouldn't slide out, even though the steering inputs weren't that magnificent in my opinion. But either way, here we are really trying our best to keep up. We can see the rear sliding out again, trying to carry as much speed through this, even flying over the curb. I wouldn't say that's the most ideal, not the nicest for your chassis either, but thankfully after this entire race nothing too bad has happened to our chassis, and it still is fine to this day. And here you can see the people in front of us gaining time on us, which isn't ideal. And now we're heading into the hairpin corner, heading into another hairpin, but we're just not carrying enough speed to keep up with them, and we're just losing too much ground. I will say that at this moment I also had quite a bit of pain in my left side of my rib cage, and this was mainly due to just driving with not that good of a rib protector, which basically made it quite bad, so to say, considering it was hurting quite a bit while we get overtaken by the number 241 here. But I will say that was quite a bit of a struggle, and it also made it so I couldn't push too hard through the corner, because if I were to push very hard through the corner it would hurt just too much and it became unbearable at some point. But I will say the people on the track were very helpful towards me, as in they gave me painkillers to make sure that I at least felt less pain than I would before that, so I'm very thankful for that. But even though we had the painkillers, I wouldn't necessarily say it helped too much at the end of the day, considering it just it was just continuous driving, quite a bit of pressure onto it. We did eventually put padding into the seats to at least make it easier to deal with, but it wasn't that good, because the damage was already done before that. But yeah, you can really see us trying to keep up, even though the circumstances, and especially in corners like these to the right, it's just an absolute killer for the ribs. And the majority of the high pressure ones are all to the right, like for example this corner here, or this corner to the right here, which is about like over 100 kilometers per hour. And you have to imagine with the G-forces that you're pulling in that corner, it can be quite unbearable, so to say. So I'm probably going to get a new rib protector for sure after this race. But yeah, you can really see us trying our best to keep up, and I would say in this position that I'm in at the moment is around the 12th position, which isn't the best. It's basically similar to what we started out with as the qualifying, but the thing is, the first race I was still able to compete properly, then I was able to drive on the 7th position, but this race it just became way harder for me to be able to do, and I'm not sure if it's due to the rib cage or also due to the setup that we had. It's probably a combination of it, but it's something I'm definitely looking into and trying to improve upon. And here you can see us getting very close to number 203, trying to have a look on the inside. Ooh, we just managed to make it so he didn't crash. He has a slightly bad exit. I also get a very bad exit and get overtaken because of that, so that's not good at all, losing another position. But we are still just trying to keep up with them and trying to make my driving as fluent, even though the circumstances, which we managed to do quite nicely. Also looking at what the people in front of me are doing compared to what I'm doing, just to make sure that I'm able to keep up with them. And maybe even gain them, like for example here, just braking slightly later to make sure that I gain some time on them. But on the exit we just lose a bit, but that's probably also due to the gear ratio we were running, considering I've heard that at least after the race people changed their gear ratio up, and I was still running the gear ratio that they were using around race 1 and the qualifying, which I wouldn't necessarily say is the most ideal. I should have probably kept on changing it up and seeing if we can get more out of it, but considering we were already doing quite decently, I didn't do too much about it, which isn't smart at all. But yeah, we learned from it. And here we get overtaken by the number 297, which makes a gesture for us to follow, but I knew that we were around the end of the race, so I'm just trying to put up a battle and make sure that I don't lose any more positions, because I think that was my mentality, at least for this race, because I knew that due to the pain I just couldn't push as hard as I normally would be able to, and due to this that was going on, I'm really just trying to make sure that I don't lose any positions. And while we can even see the 297 fully going around the chicane, quite good that he did, otherwise he would have probably flew over the chicane and bent his rear axe or even something else, because he would have flown very far. Yeah, you can just see them pulling away more and more, which I would say for me at this moment wasn't the nicest thing, but I knew that for the end of this specific day I didn't have too much left, so I was just really focusing on making sure that I don't make too many mistakes and trying to drive as clean as possible. As we go through the chicane once again, going back up to the straight, and here we are just trying to really focus and make sure that we can at least get a bit more close to the driver in front of us. We also saw the number 297 pull out due to a issue, which is very unfortunate. I feel quite bad for him because he has quite a bit of issues throughout the entire race, as in like the axle not doing stuff properly, as in moving entirely. So I feel quite bad for him, so to say. While we drift through this corner, looks quite cool, but it's not recommended to do, because by doing this you lose quite a bit of time. And yeah, this is just not going the way I really wanted to, but this is just stuff we pick up and improve upon. And here you can see how we really fly into the corner at higher speeds now, really trying to crank the speed a bit up, because I could see that the people behind me were gaining up ever so slightly. Because I was driving about 6/10 slower than I did before that. And people saying, oh, 6/10 doesn't really sound like too much, but believe me, when you're in a race like this, every single tenth and half a second matters. It's like multiple meters, so it's not ideal to be losing a couple of tenths per lap. So then I was just really focusing, so I could see on my lap time, that's the little screen in front of, or like the little screen that's on top of my steering wheel, that I was just losing time slightly, and that I wasn't driving fast enough. So I knew the lap timer told me that I wasn't going fast enough, so I really tried to change up my entire pace, make sure I at least get half a second more, like at least get a half second faster per lap, to make sure that I'm not going to lose any more time. Which I'm glad I managed to do it, because we are driving around the 45.2s now, which isn't fast either. We should actually be driving under the 45s, but it's also the first time on these tires, and I would say compared to the Maxxis Sport it's quite a bit different. Like we tried the Maxxis Sport within the training day before that, which is on the Saturday, and I didn't use the Max. Well, I used the Lecons in the qualifying, but I didn't use the technically new ones. So we put the new ones that's actually meant for the race on the training on the Sunday, and it meant that it was a bit worse when I was doing the qualifying, but it didn't matter too much. I really had to just get used to this tire compound, considering it's quite a bit different from the way it reacts. So you can brake quite a bit later, you can go way faster into corners. So that's really noticeable when it comes to this kind of tire compound. And I'm glad that I did it, considering in the qualifying I was able to drive faster than I was able to do on when they were fresh within the training session. So that's quite good, so to say, and I'm happy that it got recommended to me. So the only thing we can do now is actually just get more used to this tire compound, the way you like fill it with air, so like the amount of air you put into it, like the pressure, and hopefully from that we can just improve. But yeah, I would say for the first time for me on this tire compound in a Dutch championship, it wasn't that bad of a performance, so to say, and I just have to focus on what I can improve and get better from there on. But yeah, this was basically the race. Didn't really get a very good position, but I've at least got a lot of information to be able to pick up on for the next race. So yeah, that's quite good, but unfortunately due to the front bumper being quite low to the ground, I did get a click bumper time penalty, which is just very annoying, since I didn't really hit anyone or anything, so to say. It's just that it was too low to the ground when hitting the chicane to where it got clicked in. And yeah, it's just an absolute bummer to happen, because I was just very surprised that I even got a click bumper in the first place. But hopefully something like this wouldn't happen again. And I'll see you guys in the next race.
Never get old.